In this recording, we're going to look at drawing 463, the clock. Holy cow. Your teacher, Miss K, is insane for making you draw this. No, she's not actually. This is a good challenge. You can do this. You can do this. We're just going to break it down into small little pieces here. So let's take a look at what we've got. Fractional inches. So we're going to use our standard inch ruler. I'll need to know what the sizes are. I can see my most fine dimension is 1/16 of an inch. So if you wanted to, you could use the 16th inch division ruler, or you can use a 32nd. I'm going to use a 16, just make it easier on myself. Let's see here. So we just got some circles. All right, we got a little circle. We've got some lines that come off here to show that it's 3:37 in the afternoon or in the middle of the night. We've got lots of dimensions. It's okay. I like the alignment of the dimensions. They're either horizontal or they're vertical, or in this case, I like that one. That's aligned dimensioning. So we're just going to work our way out. You can always start with construction lines that are faint, that are easier to erase, and then go back in and darken them in later. So I'm just going to work middle out. So like all other drawings, you're going to create your layout. A little bit of skew here. Create your layout to the standard of Miss K. You're going to fill in your boxes. I didn't mark off my boxes here, but 3.5, 1-on-1. You're going to put in your name. You're going to put in the title of Force Clock. You're going to put in the date, the scale. We're going to do this 1-to-1. Yep, we're going to do this 1-to-1. And then drawing number, either Miss K's. You can use 463 or 1, whatever Miss K wants. All right. So here we go. Dead center, I've got a circle, and its diameter is 3/8 of an inch. That's its diameter, is 3/8 of an inch. I guess set my compass to half of 3/8. Well, that's easy. As I want half of 8ths, I just multiply it times a half. And 3/8 times a half, 3 times, well, that's still 3. 8 times 2, that's just 3/16. 3/16 is my radius. All right, radius of the first one is going to be 3/16. So let's just go and put that in there. All right. Let me grab my ruler and my compass. We're going to set that to 3/16. That is 3 of the little lines on a 16 scaled ruler. Just like so. Right at the center. And start with a construction line first. You didn't see that. My compass moved. There we go. Perfection. Good enough. All right. So I have my 3/8 diameter circle in the center here. I have coming out 7/8 inch away from my center the end of my hour hand. Let's go ahead and draw that in. So let me get my, there we go, good. I got my T-square, 7/8. That's not the right side. From center, 7/8. Each of these is a 16, so I could think of it, I could double that if I want to do 14/16, or I could just count 8s. So here would be 1/8. You can see the size of that line. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. Or I could also know that 7/8 is 1/8 less than a whole inch and count backwards 1/8 of an inch. A little mark there. That is the end of my hourglass. I'm sorry, hourglass. Hour hand. All right, and it shows that the tip of this hour hand is 60 degrees. And how big is my hour hand? Well, you know what? They show it on the minute hand. They're the same thickness. It's just the length is different. My minute hand is 3/16 inch thick. So I need to draw a 3/16 inch line. So here's what I'm going to do. 3/16 thick. 3/16 thick. Well, that means I need to go half up and half down. 3/16. My ruler is going to get in the way of this. Let me get my T-square. Camera's going to get in the way here. Other way. Now think about this for a second. 3/16. You get right here at 0. There we go. Okay. I could go 1 1/2 down, but 3/16 I'm going to have a line above, a line below. 3/16, that means I do need 30 seconds because that means I need 3 30 seconds above and 3 seconds. Oh, let me grab the other one. Where'd it go? All right, 3 30 seconds above. So 1, 2, 3 30 seconds above. 1, 2, 3 30 seconds below. 3 tiny little lines above, 3 tiny little lines below the middle. And then I'm going to use my T-square and drop a line, very faint, back to that circle that we drew. And go to the other 3 30 seconds line. Drop a line back very faint. Then grab my 60. And from this line here, where was that? We said that was 7/8 away is the tip of the hour hand back to center. That's this point. I'm going to drop a construction line 60 one way. Turn it around. Drop. Actually, it doesn't have to be a construction line because I know my X tense. I know my start and stop. It's going to start right there and stop right there. There we go. Yes, sir. Now I can go back with my T-square and make this an object line. Here's my hour hand. Okay. So minute hand, look at this. It is pointing between 7 and 8. This is 90 degrees here, right? And it's pointing right in the middle of 90 degrees. Middle of 90, half of 90 is 45 degrees. That's a 45 degree angle. Holy cow, that's not so bad. Let's grab my 45 here. And I'm going to draw the center line for this arrow hand out. There's a construction line. All right, how long is this supposed to be? 1 1/8 inch. 1 1/8 inch. Where's my ruler? Let's see here. That would be 1 inch to center. I got to go another 8. There's a 16. There's an 8. Okay, a little mark. Erase my extra, my construction line. Uh-oh, did I get rid of my mark? No, that's right there. Right there. All right, so my 45. I need to move over 3 3/16 from this one. So I got to slide over 3 and 3. No, not 3 3/16. 3 30 seconds. Parallel line. 3 30 seconds, but that's got to be 3 30 seconds parallel to this one. This one. Oh wait, that's not the right ruler. So I'll rotate this to the other 45. And we'll find a nice number here. I don't know, like number 9. There we go. Right on the line, right on the inch. And I'll go 1, 2, 3, put a dot. 1, 2, 3, put a dot. Now I know my boundaries. This step is going to be the opposite of 60, which was 30. And the reason it's opposite is because we're now at a 45 off center. So I'm going to go from my tip and I'm going to go back. That doesn't look right at all. Doesn't look right at all. It says 60. Doesn't look right. Doesn't look right at all. There it goes. There it is. Okay. That doesn't look right at all, does it? No. That's because I need to use my 45 with my 30. Yes. Yes. No, that's still not right. I forget it's not. Anyway, it's been since I've done this. Oh, you know what? That's right. I do need 60. I can't. The camera's in the way. There's the 60. Camera's in the way. All right, well. Okay, let's just at least. There we go. Get that 60 in there. There we go. Okay. Minute hand, done. All right, so the end of the minute hand is a concentric circle. Concentric, the same one. Same center point. Concentric circle for the placement of the numerals on the face of the clock. And I can see that from center out, it's 1 1/8. So that is a radius, not a diameter. I'll set my compass right to 1 1/8. Compass. Okay. So I can set it with my ruler, or I can set it right here, because that's the same distance. And then you would go back in and erase for each number. Fantastic. All right, my next, let's just do the rest of my rings here. I got this inner ring of my face, and I can see I have from the top of the circle to the bottom of the circle, this dimension is 3 diameter. Half of 3 for my compass is 1 1/2. All right, so I'll set this to don't want it to move on me. One and a half. And this is an object line. So I'd start with a construction line and then go back over a few times to darken it in. So that is the boundary of the face. So we have this bezel here, another little ring around it, and it says this is 3 1/4 diameter. So we're adding a 1/4 inch total, which means we're adding half of that to the top and half to the bottom. So instead of 1 1/2, it's going to be 1 1/2 1/8. 1 1/2. Wait a minute, what? We had 3 became 1 1/2 for radius. Diameter 3 became 1 1/2 radius. Diameter of 3 1/4 is the same as 1 1/2 plus half of a quarter, which is half of 1/8. Oh, it's fractions. Okay, well, hang on a second. How many 8ths are there in a half? There'd be 4 of them. So that's the same as 1 1/2, 4/8 plus another 1/8. Yeah? A half, it'd be the same as having 4 out of 8 pieces, is the same as having half of it, the whole thing. Yep. So 4 plus 1 is 5. So it's going to be 1 whole inch plus 5/8 of an inch. Yep. That works out. Math works. 1 5/8. There's 1 1/2. 1, and I added another 1/8. 5/8. And start with one circle to make sure it looks good. And then go back over it, darken it up nice. That didn't happen. There we go. That looks better. I'm telling you, this drawing, when I'm done, is going to be fridge worthy. I'm going to want to put it on my fridge for my family to see. All right, next circle, the outside edge of our clock face. Look at the dimension from top to bottom. It says it's 4 diameter. I'm going to make that 2 radius. And it's a nice dark object. Okay. Let's see, what do I want to do now? I've got my arrow, this construction line for my numbers. I don't have the division. I'll do the divisions later. Let me do the top of this clock. So what I've got is I've got a box that comes and just meets the outside edge. From the top of the clock up is 3/16. So I'm just going to measure. Get me a T here. Oh, the camera's going to be in the way. It's okay. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. All right. So at the top of the clock, let me get a nice standard number here. There's 1. Let me count up 16ths. Notice this is 16th ruler. So I just count 3 of these lines up. 1, 2, 3. Put a reference mark. And then I'm taking my T-square. I'll just draw a construction line. Now, how big is this box? This box is a 1/2 inch to the end. It's a 1 inch total. So I will take my ruler and I will measure 1/2 inch to the end, 1 inch total. Take my triangle and just at those marks, drop a vertical down object line until I reach my clock face circle. Now I can clean up my construction line. Go back with my T-square and darken that in. Okay, now I have this curve. All right, so this curve, you can see the center of this curve, this arc, is at the top of the circle clock face, and it is set to 3/8 of an inch on radius. Radius is exactly what I need. There we go. So I'm going to set my compass to 3/8. Ooh, that's small. All right, so if this is 16ths, I need either 6/16 or 3/8. 1, 2, 3/8 or 6 of the little 16 lines. And then we're going to start at the top of the clock face circle for our center point, and then just draw where it intersects the top of the box. Not to draw any more than that. I would start gently first. And then darken it in. Now I have a little round knob on the top. Okay, these circles, we have center lines that locate where they are. I can see that this left one is 1 5/16 to the left of center. They are 2 5/8 apart, which means they're centered, because 1 5/16 and another 1 5/16 is the same as, well, I double the 1 is 2, I double 5/16, I get double, that's double. So yeah, they're evenly spaced. And so let me just go ahead and figure out where those lines are going to be. 1 5/16. All right, so here's 1. Each of these is 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 5/16. Put a little mark right here. And then from the left, I can measure back. I don't have to remove my ruler. That's what's really nice about it. We call this right here, we call this datum dimensioning, where they're using the same line to start. The reason why is now I don't have to move my ruler. I can keep it in the exact same spot, and I can go 2 5/8. So let's see, here's an 8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. Make sure you're using 8s, not 16ths. 2 5/8. All right, so from here, I'm going to get my triangle and just draw some construction lines for the center points. So I don't know where the plus will be, so I'm just going to draw a gentle line down a ways. I'm going to draw a well because I'm going to use it for dimensioning later. Like so. All right, so there's those two. There's those two lines. Now I got to figure out where they cross. All right, so let's see here. Here's the center point. It's measured with this 1 15/16 from, oh, it's square. No, it's not square. That's 1 5/16. It's 1 15/16, so it's not square. Well, that would make sense. So from this horizontal down, it's 1 15/16. I can see my ruler is in the way. All right, so I'm just going to come off to the distance and measure it. All right, so let me see. Let me just get a solid inch line here. All right, 9 is a good number for my ruler. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to measure 1 inch. That gets me to the next big number. And then I'm going to measure 15/16 down. Well, that's just 1/16 short of another inch. So I'm just going to measure to the next one and go back a 16th. And there's that mark. All right. And now I can take my T-square and I can go through and make my center line mark on each of those. And then I'll extend to the center line. Like so. Okay. So now I know where these little circles live. These happy little circles. All right, what are these happy little circles? There's no leader line on here like there was on this one. But I can see this number right here, 3/4. And that shows me the top and bottom of this arc. It's not a complete circle. It sort of intersects the other circle. That's 3/4 diameter, and it goes all the way across. Half of 3/4. 3/4 times a half. Oh yeah, 3 times 1, that's 3. 4 times 2, it's 8. 3/8. That's the radius of these. All right. 3/8. 1, 2, 3. 3/8. Oh, look at that. My compass is already 3/8. Why? Because we used it up here for 3/8. That's nice. All right. Put in my compass at the center. I'm going to draw a circle. And I'm going to start and stop it where it touches that clock face. So these must be my little feet. Put this clock on my dresser, on my shelf. These are object lines. Let's go ahead and darken them in. And I'll do both. No. Oh, don't take it first turn. Okay. Well, that's it for object lines. We've got to do, the divisions. We've got these divisions. All right, so let's think about what this means here in terms of where am I going to put these divisions. They didn't give us an angle, but we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 12 of these around a whole circle, right? And there's 360 degrees in a circle. And if I divide that into 12 equal units, how many degrees do I have between the whole thing? Well, 36 and 12. Oh. Well, 36, 12 is 24, and 36, that's 3, and I still have the 0 left over. That means 30 degrees for every division. Okay. I just so happen to have a 30-degree triangle. All right, each of these divisions, it says, with this annotation up here, is 3/16 inch long from this inner circle down. So you could do it a couple of ways. You could measure every single one, or you could take and draw a circle, very, very faint circle, around here that is 3/16 inch shorter. Does that make sense? So this was 3 inches, right, to here. Why don't I draw another circle that's 3/16 inches less than that? Hang on. Now, 3/16 less than the radius of 3. 3 radius was 1.5. So I go to 1.5, which would be 4/16. Yeah? No, 8/16. Come on, half of 16 is 8. Yep. 8/16. And I'm going to lose 3 of them. So 8, 7, 6, 5. 1 5/16. Very faint. It helps if you make the sound. That's barely there. This one right here. Can you see it? Oh, so faint. Just enough for me to tell what I'm doing. All right, so now, hey, let me just go ahead and mark in the divisions I know with my triangle right here. Here's my 12 o'clock. There's my 6 o'clock with my T-square. Can mark in my 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. All right, so now I'm going to need more. All right, I'll use my 60 and measure in my 11 o'clock and 5 o'clock. flip it to the 30. Measure in my 10 o'clock, 4 o'clock, flip to the other side. We've got 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, flip to the 60, 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And there are my 12 divisions. That one doesn't look quite like dead center, does it? Screwed up a little bit. Yeah, let me erase that. There we go. That's a little better. Well, there's my 12 divisions. All right. So you can write your numbers in. Notice they are all vertical. And they are 1/4 inch size for each of the numbers in height. So you can use your T-square right here, see? So from this space, from this point, I want my numbers to be 1/4 inch tall. And now if I wanted to, I can go in and clean up that tiny little construction circle that I used to make my divisions. So it's not in the way of doing my numbering for the numbers on the clock face. Like so. All right, I'm not going to write those numbers in for you. You can do all these numbers in dimensioning. Just make sure you're using your extension lines, your dimension lines, you got your arrows filled in correctly, again a 1:3 ratio, you're doing your numbering correctly, again you're doing aligned dimensioning, vertical numbers here, horizontal there, everything else looks pretty good. You can do the dimensioning on your own. That's how the 463 clock is done.